Well, how many times throughout your life have you been asked, where were you when such and such happened? Such as when the news of the passing of the King, Elvis Presley, or John Lennon being shot and killed, and of course, the tragedy surrounding the passing of Princess Diana. Well, let's go to harness racing terms, and where were you when the great pale-face Adios fell at his first occasion he ventured to Harold Park? I was right across from the track, just standing in the terraces where the fall happened. But however, I thought I had a grandstand seat, but Norm Warland tops that, and here he is to tell his story. Well, Norm, as I mentioned, I was standing across from the fall at Harold Park, so we're taking you back to late April 1972, and you had an even better seat.
Yeah, I was pretty close up behind Paleface Adios that night, and he got involved in an accident and fell pretty quickly, about 2 furlongs from home, and I had no option but to run into the back of him, and I went over his head and landed on the ground in front of him. So I told everyone I beat him home one night, you know.
Yeah, you were driving John Pepper.
Yeah. But it was only a bit of a joke, you know. I said I finished in front of Paleface Adios, it'll never happen again, you know.
Because he was making all the headlines about his first appearance at Harold Park. He'd been a sensation on the country tracks, and everyone was waiting to see the Paleface Adios.
Yeah, well, he came up and he'd only had a couple of starts, I think, before he came to Harold Park. I don't know, but he was the first week something happened to him, and the week after the accident, he came out and won the Sapling Stakes final, I think it was. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with your memory, that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, he went right around the field from well back and circled the field and won on his ear sort of thing, and I heard one bloke, John Michael, say that's the best 2-year-old I've ever seen in my life, you know. But whether that was to be later on or not, I don't know, you know.
Norm, what was it like driving against not only some of those great horses, but you're in a tough school as far as all those great drivers?
Yeah, well, they're just sort of names. One race is like another. You just got to go around and drive the smartest race you can to try and get home at the other end and as close as you can to the winner. Not expecting to win anything much, you know, but always like to run a place. And he did run a place there at Harold Park, his first start. He ran third behind, I think it was Bowl Jason and who was it? Might have been Percy Hall with Tarcoola Frost, I think, yeah.
Geez, you're mentioning some great names there. Now, Norm, you were a late bloomer as far as harness racing was concerned. You didn't really get into the business until you were 23 when you started joining your father, George.
Yeah, well, I didn't have a lot going for me at the time, you know, and my father encouraged me to work a horse or two, and then I bought one of my own, Popular Demand, and I won a race with him at Kembla Grange on the old galloping track. And then I worked a couple of Dad's horses and won a few races with Breathe Scott, and then went to Harold Park and won there in 58. He won there. Didn't win much after that until I got a drive behind Paul Shipley's horse, Tricky Bit, and that was 31 years later, and I won again there. But I ran quite a few places and here and there in between, you know, with horses like Clary's Hope and a couple of others, but couldn't crack it for a win down there. It was pretty hard, like, you know, you had to have a good horse to win at Harold Park, you know.
Yeah, you certainly did in those days, Norm. Now, you're 87 years of age and you consider yourself to be a hobby trainer for the past 60 years.
65 years, yeah. That's all. I always liked working my own, and I did get involved in a couple of small syndicates, but that didn't work out for me. I had a trucking business to run, and I had to spend most of my time doing that, you know. So it was only just that you come home from work and work a horse with your mates down at Bankstown and have a bit of fun going around and hope you get a decent one, you know.
Yeah, you retired from your trucking business, which you sold at the age of 59, and has given you a little bit more time to have a play with the horses.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Work was cutting out with the truck, so I bit the bullet and gave it a miss and carried on from there and managed to get through all right, you know, and everything worked out all right. Yeah.
The Warland family have been known for breeding and then racing their own horses, and one such horse very near and dear to your heart, Just Tootsie.
Yeah, well, she's been one of the better performers I've had, yeah, for sure. And she's been a very honest mare that always tries hard. Can be a bit of a bitch as far as kicking, but she's always been a good trial, and she still looks good now in the paddock, you know. But I must try and start working her again, I think.
Yeah, 241 starts. She's had 18 wins, 39 placings, so she has been off since early August. So there's no thoughts of retiring her at this stage?
No, I'm sort of just playing it by ear, see how things work out. Between the wet weather and my wife's had a bit of problems, and I had to run her to the doctors a bit. You know, it's hard to sort of shoe them and yourself and travel back and forwards to the track and to the races and do everything properly. Like, you know, I like to work, when I get to racing standard, I like to put all my time into the one horse and try and get the best I can out of it, sort of thing, you know. And if I try working too seriously, I don't do as good, I think. Something goes undone.
Well, she's a very tough and durable mare, so she's certainly got that constitution required.
Yeah, well, you're making me keen to start jogging her again tomorrow. Yeah, she looks as good as ever, and she's fighting fit. Yeah, she likes to put the boot into the other horses when there's any food around, so she's not backward and coming forward, like, you know.
I know one person who'd be good to see her back in work would be Glenn McElhenney. He's had a very good association with her.
Yeah, he drove her in most of her wins. Yeah, quite a few here, and she's won at big prices a few times, you know, 50 to 1 a couple of times, and always 30, 40 to 1 or something, you know, because she's not quite good enough for the bookies to worry about it too much, you know. And the big stables have their own punters and that, you know. They favour the main drivers, which you should, I suppose. They win most of the races, you know. But it's good to have a horse. Just a horse to play around with, and I enjoy sitting behind a horse and just working it and bringing it down the track. And I even like shoeing it, like, you know. It just fills in my time good, you know. And now I'm retired, and I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have a horse, like, you know.
Well, Norm, we'll end the interview the way we started, by turning back the hands of time. 1960, you were there for the Inter-Dominion Grand Final, Caduceus.
Yeah, Caduceus. Yeah, well, he was always one of my favourite horses, and I did back him that night too, which made it better, but it was the most exciting race. And I think because of the atmosphere with the big crowd, geez, up a bit, you know. And there was a lot of talk about the race before and after and all that sort of thing, you know. And but he's a marvellous horse, and they mightn't have run the times they run today, but when you consider they were standing starts on a smaller track and they came off 24 or 36 behind, which Caduceus did, and then circled the field, never saw the fence, and circled the field and sat out 3 wide for a lot of the pace. You can't expect them to run the times they're running here, like, you know.
One of the most talked about points on that night, Norm, was the fact that there was 50,000 plus at Harold Park.
Yeah, if you had too many, you couldn't move. Yeah, I had a lot of trouble moving around. I just got in a good spot the race before, and I stayed there. I didn't move. You couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't go to the betting ring and never get back again, you know. And as I said earlier, I saw a bloke fall through the roof. They were all climbing on the roof to get a better view, sort of thing, you know. So never saw it before that time, and never saw it again since.
Well, Norm, it's been great having a little bit of a go back in time and talking about the great pale-face Adios and that night he fell as a 2-year-old. Also, Caduceus, it's been great to catch up with you on Clubman Angle TV. Thanks very much for your time.
No worries, good.